collecting your written testimony and any letters of recommendation. So if you did not submit your letters of recommendation previously, feel free to let us know that you have it today, and we'll be happy to send someone around to pick it up, that and also any other pertinent information that you brought with you. We'll have the first 3 applicants whose name I'll call approach the witness table and be seated. And also, we're going to call out the following 3 folks to testify after, the next 3 folks to testify after the first 3. But what we'd like for you to do is have a seat right behind the speaker's table, and these seats sort of right here in the front. And that way we can move a little bit quicker. And also, prior to commencing with your testimony, we ask that you state your name for the record, even if we know you already. And also remember that the stenographer needs to both hear and understand your testimony as she's taking it down. And with that, we're going to go ahead and get started. And so the first 3 names that we're going to call are Gregory Allen, Sabria Bilal, and Michael Birch. The next 3 after that would be Rebecca Byron, Heather Calvert, and Michael J. Capone. So the first 3 at the table should be Gregory Allen, Sabria Bilal, and Michael Birch. Good morning. Okay, Mr. Allen, please state your name for the record, and you can begin with your testimony.
My name is Gregory Allen. Good morning, members of City Council, Committee on Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Affairs. This is Bernard Jamal Scott, BJ to all his friends. From all accounts, Bernard was a good kid. Saturday mornings, I would see him and his friends in their dress greens, preparing for Army ROTC, cleaner than the Board of Health. Good morning, sir. I love your dogs. They're beautiful. Can my friends and I pet them? Good morning. Of course you can. I love your uniforms. You are so mannerly and well-spoken. Someone really brought you up right. This is James Patrick Stolman. I'm told by people who knew him that he loved his family and that he was a good neighbor and friend. James was a horticulturist, a lover of trees. His favorite was the Japanese maple, mine too. He lived a few blocks from our church, the historic African Episcopal Church of St. Thomas. I never had the pleasure to meet James, but he sounds like one of those people you meet who make you feel better about yourself. Although more than 30 years of living separated Bernard and James, they have a lot of things in common. From what I know, they were both good people. They both cared for their community and for their friends. They both lived in the West Philadelphia communities of Overbrook and Winfield. They both loved and were loved by their families. They are both deeply missed. You see, regrettably, they were both killed around this time of year. Bernard on April 12, 2013, James on March 19, 2015. And their deaths have another unfortunate connection, Tustin Recreation Center. I live across the street. My friends jokingly call me the guardian of the playground, the mayor of Overbrook. No, Tustin was not directly involved in their deaths. Bernard was an innocent bystander to a fight shot on the baseball field after school. The teenagers who killed James visited Tustin the day he was killed, in fact, hours before he was murdered. Still, I always wonder what would have happened if the young men who killed Bernard and James would have had something better to do that day. Would Bernard's and James' families have been spared the unimaginable grief they are surely experiencing to this day. I ask to be considered as a member of the Commission on Parks and Recreation since I believe I can make a real active contribution to ensure that young people receive the type of high-quality, out-of-school time youth development activities that are proven to impact lives. My entire career has focused on helping young people and their families. If Philadelphia's children are not safe in the places where they learn and play, then no one is safe, anywhere. Thank you for your time and consideration. I pray that my testimony honors the lives, legacies, and families of Bernard Jamal Scott and James Patrick Stolman. May they rest in peace.
Thank you for your testimony. Before we take questions, I do want to acknowledge the presence of Councilman Curtis Jones, Jr., the committee vice chair. Can you hold for one second?
Yeah, don't worry.
Okay, next we're going to hear from Ms. Sabraya Bilal.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
My name is Sabria Bilal. I'm block captain for the 7100 block of Forest Avenue. In addition, I serve as president of the West Oak Lane Civic Association that encompasses the 10th Ward. I've been a community organizer and advocate for decades. As president of the West Oak Lane Civic Association, I have set guidelines, established and ensured definition to the roles and responsibilities of the board. As key person in the Neighborhood Watch Group, I have been an integral component to keeping the block events current by putting flyers in the residence store, keeping crime prevention efforts current by reporting abandoned vehicles and suspicious activity, ensuring that community beautification continues to thrive through tree planting, lawn care, and garden seeding, and by scheduling seasonal block parties, festivities to encourage community fellowship. I keep the community abreast of upcoming cultural affairs like the Odunde Festival, Cinco de Mayo, Mama's Parade, and the Greek Festival. As community organizer, I interact with the Philadelphia More Beautiful Block Commission in a joint effort to keep our community clean and litter-free. I attend monthly PSA meetings and City Council town meetings and relay the information to the residents during our block meetings. I encourage the younger residents to voter registration and notify them of job opportunities as they are announced. The younger voters in my community have asked that I keep them notified of the availability to work on polls or canvass during election time. They have also made it in practice to solicit my direction and input on community issues. I have been elected committee person in my division and serves the political agenda of my ward. I have placed my name in candidacy for state and city public office and have assisted other candidates with their election or re-election efforts. I have served as executive board member of my union and have advised, represented, and assisted members in their grievance procedure. I have demonstrated an interest to be part of the community organizing efforts. I am confident that I can make a contribution to the Commission on Parks and Recreation.
Okay, thank you for your testimony. I also want to take a moment and recognize the presence of Councilwoman Maria Quinones Sanchez and Mr. Birch. If you could state your name for the record and please begin your testimony.
Thank you. My name is Michael Birch. Thank you, council members, for seeing us this morning. I am a longtime resident of Philadelphia. I live in the Parkside section of Philadelphia. I'm a recent transplant. I have been gone from the city for a few years. I returned about 10 years ago when my mother passed and moved back into the same home that I grew up in. The neighborhood is still beautiful, but there have been a lot of changes. In the time I've been back, I've been working with our community in various community groups and with a lot of the cultural institutions that are in our community. My hope is that we can all work together. My career choice has been at the Franklin Institute. I'm the director of youth programs there. I have a lot of experience working with programming, over 20 years of young people coming to my programs at the Franklin Institute. And I'm a product of what Parks and Rec, or the recreation program, was when I was a child, for using the public system as a kid growing up in West Philadelphia. These programs are definitely important, and I want to contribute my experience, both as a young person growing up through the system and as a director of youth programming right now at the Franklin Institute. I feel I can make a great contribution to this city and to this program. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Any questions for this panel? Councilman Jones?
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you all for your interest and being a part of your continued interest in being part of our Recreation Department and Parks and molding, more importantly, molding of young people's lives. When you held up Bernard Scott's photo, it gave me a flashback to when it happened at Tustin, and it changed things. Some for the better, and some set in reality of what we were dealing with our young people. First thing we did was, thanks to the chairwoman, was place an emphasis on cameras. We received the first batch of 12 that came out as a result of his untimely demise. He was a good kid, did what a lot of kids do, which is sit and watch the fight. I've done it on numerous occasions, and it shouldn't be a death sentence. The other thing that it did was show that we need more activity around there. Many of those young people in that area of Parkside as well, they're not going to make it to Disney World. Their Disney World will encompass whatever activities we put at those rec centers, whether it's a amateur sports team or mentoring or male and female engagement. So one of the debates that we are having here, and I think all of council agrees, that we need to do more. The question is how we pay for more, which is always something that we have to struggle with. But there is no question that we need partners in the community. And yes, you are the mayor of Tustin and Overbrook. I got pictures of you and I cleaning up on a Saturday morning when we could have been watching cartoons or something else. But you've made a commitment to that area, and so will we. So we appreciate your coming on board. But let me ask you this, and all of this is for all of you. If you could name 3 things that you would put in those respective recreation centers, what would they be?
What comes to mind for me are mentoring programs right away. You've got to get older adults interested in working with younger people, first and foremost. The programs that I run at the Franklin Institute, I have mentors, people who are volunteering their time to come in on Saturdays and work with these young people. That is so important. Those things can take, just big brother, big sister type programs can take children so far. It's amazing what you see.
That's one.
That's one.
I think I'd like to incorporate a reading club, like a father-son reading club for after school. If it's no more than a father and a son sitting down reading a chapter there at the rec center, that gives them some quality time together, and it's also the recreation atmosphere. If they want to veer off into spending some time playing basketball or whatever, I think I'd like to see a father and son effort at the center itself, at the rec center. Go ahead. All right.
If you were finished, I'm sorry. For me, I think I'd be as practical as possible, because a lot of the young people are struggling with coming home from juvenile justice facilities or maybe even prison, and they're not able to find jobs. So there's got to be a way to engage them, because not only was Bernard's family destroyed, but the family of the boys who killed Bernard or killed James Patrick Stolman, whose uncle I know, they're destroyed too. So there's got to be a way to engage them, because if we don't, then they go back and do what they knew how to do before, and it's this vicious cycle. So out of school time, Saturdays, evenings, whatever it takes to engage those teenagers and 20-somethings in education and jobs.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Thank you. And I want to thank you for your testimony. I think it's very, very powerful. And, especially when we talk about spending close to $600 million to rebuild recreation centers here in the city of Philadelphia. I'm glad to hear you all say, to some degree, community involvement is so important in our rec centers, because it doesn't matter how nice and neat and shiny the building is if there's no one in it, or there's no programs going on. So, but thank you for being here, and thank you for your testimony this morning. And we'll have our next panel come forward. Heather Calvert, Michael J. Capon. Wait a minute, I'm out of order. Rebecca Byron, sorry. Rebecca, Heather, and Michael.
We're actually in the wrong order. I'm Heather. Is that all right?
That's fine, that's fine. It's okay with me. Okay, and why don't we start with Rebecca, if you want to start by stating your name for the record and beginning your testimony.
Good morning. My name is Rebecca Byron, but I go by Rudy. Thank you, council members, for taking the time to meet with all the applicants. It was exciting to see so many people want to take a larger role in the management of their city's park and recreation facilities. I'm a Philly area native. I grew up in Montgomery County, and I am also a senior environmental planner working nationwide for federal clients. My biggest client is the National Park Service. A position on the commission would allow me to combine my professional background, including a decade of experience with environmental planning, with my passion for my home city and its park and recreation facilities. I began with my company as an intern in 2005, and I am now a senior project manager. Each project that I manage requires me to propose and then stick to a budget, develop a range of alternatives to a proposed action, evaluate what impacts they may have on natural and cultural resources as well as the surrounding communities, engage the public in multiple meetings, and engage stakeholders as well. My job has allowed me to work on a wide range of planning projects within our National Park Service system, from creating solutions to vehicle congestion at Muir Woods and Arches National Park using public-private partnerships, to developing new trail systems in Washington, D.C., to protecting a portion of Everglades National Park from transmission line development on an in-holding, and developing off-road vehicle management frameworks at multiple parks to balance resource protection with visitor use and experience. Over the course of each project that I've managed or contributed to, I learned that each park and planning challenge is unique. There is no one-size-fits-all approach to managing park and recreational facilities. But with my experience, I can bring solutions that have worked in other locations that could be tailored and adapted to Philadelphia's park system. It would be an honor to be nominated for a position on the commission. I would bring experience, a positive attitude, and a passion to keep Philadelphia not only a vibrant place to live, but also an attractive national destination. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your testimony. Okay, and next we'll hear from Heather Calvert.
My name is Heather Calvert. I'm an administrator of an HIV/AIDS program at the University of Pennsylvania that's focused on Botswana. In addition to 20 years of nonprofit management work experience, I have a master's in public administration from the Fels Institute of Government. I have extensive experience in marketing and public relations. In my current role as a staff director at Penn, I'm responsible for all communications and the social media for my organization and oversee all special projects and program administration, HR, and supervise the grants and finance staff. In my previous role as the director for a foundation, I was responsible for all fundraising through grant applications, corporate gifts, and individual gifts. I'm a former volunteer tour guide with the now defunct Foundation for Architecture, where I specialized in giving neighborhood historical tours focusing on the city's federal and Art Deco architecture. I am knowledgeable about preservation issues in Philadelphia and have been the convener for meetings among elected official staff and local preservationists to discuss new preservation legislation. I'm an avid gardener who has served as a volunteer judge for the Pennsylvania Horticultural Society's Neighborhood Gardening Contest, and I'm a certified tree tender. I chaired the gardening committee at the Powell Elementary School in Powelton Village for a number of years, where I organized garden-related programming for children and school volunteers. As a member of the board of directors for Calvary Center for Culture and Community, I'm charged with helping determine how best the community center can serve as a neighborhood resource and working to maintain and preserve the historic church building. I was the chair of the Gala Committee, which raised more than $40,000 for Calvary Center. I have also been a member of the Gala Committee for the Woodlands, a historic house and cemetery in West Philadelphia. In closing, of the 9 areas listed for qualifications sought, I have demonstrated skills and experience in 7. Tourism, marketing and public relations, business and finance, neighborhood revitalization, community leadership, historical and architectural preservation, landscaping and horticulture, and fundraising. I would be proud to serve as a member of the commission.
Great, thank you so much for your testimony. And next we'll hear from Mr. Michael J. Capon.
Good morning, council members. My name is Michael Capon.
Capon. I wanted to be fancy this morning.
That's
Sorry.
okay. I'm here to say today that I would be honored to serve the city, our parks, and my fellow Philadelphians as a member of the commission. And I believe I should be nominated for my demonstrated commitment to greening the urban environment and my passion for preserving and improving public green spaces. My experience and skills position me to bring significant knowledge to the table and as a valuable asset to the commission. Green space is vital to the well-being of our city. Good stewardship of this resource has been a focus of my work and studies. One of my top priorities is to cultivate natural environments within the city. If nominated, I would put my education in horticultural science and my knowledge of landscape design to work in order to make the city I love a better place. I understand that service on the commission would be to benefit Philadelphia and in support of the commissioner, and my goal would be to work collaboratively to protect and improve the treasure that are our public parks. Service is a key factor of my life, and serving on this commission would be the opportunity to be of greater service to my community. I reside in West Philadelphia, and my home is within a block of Malcolm X Park. I see firsthand the positive effects that this park can have on the surrounding neighborhood. With its soaring trees and the sound of children playing, this park is an accessible, clean, and safe place for neighbors to meet, say hi, and become part of a community. I consider this park an extension of my home as I walk my dogs and enjoy the green space. I very much want to protect it, along with other parks across the city. While I appreciate the positive impact that comes from the active, vibrant park, I see the opposite taking place in underutilized, under-resourced parks. The negatives are unfortunately far-reaching. Instead of being assets, they become blighted. Instead of creating community, they become a setting for crime. Dilapidated parks affect our city's children. When a child sees a park without swings, a basketball court so cracked that it cannot bounce a ball, how are these children supposed to believe that our city is here to support them? We should be able to look at our neighborhood parks and recreation centers as assets, places of hope and respite. For these many reasons, I wish to serve on the commission. And while I know the solutions are not simple and will take hard work, I believe that we can revitalize the entire park systems, not only to be world-class in its own right, but also as an exemplary model for other cities. We must work together so that no child has to see a park without swings, so no community has to look at their park as a glaring example of how they have been forgotten, but rather a beacon of hope for what might be possible. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you very much for your testimony. And we're going to call the next three panelists forward, but thank you very much. This very informative and great experience that you're bringing to the table. We really appreciate you being here. The next three coming forward will be Barbara Capozzi, Susan Dannenberg, and Beth Ann Devine. And following those three would be Akeem Dixon, Wanda Gloria Fortnott, and Derek Ford. So the first three up. So the first three up would be Barbara Capozzi, Susan Dannenberg, Beth Ann Devine. And good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for your time. I imagine you're sitting here for many, many hours. But it's fascinating already to learn the diversity of the people here. It's wonderful. My name's Barbara Capozzi, C-A-P-O-Z-Z-I. I've been a strong Parks and Rec advocate for many, many years. I've served briefly on the commission 2009 to 11, and I welcome the opportunity to serve again at this critical time. The Commission serves a vital role as the steward of Philadelphia's most precious community resources, and now more than ever, with the new emphasis on revitalizing the Parks and Rec system, it's more important than ever. All Parks and Rec advocates hope that this increased funding, in whatever form that it takes, will soon be approved by Council so that the important work of improving these many sites after decades of deferred maintenance can finally be funded. No one knows better than the District Council people that the precious Parks and Rec centers in your districts are the glue that holds the community together, and every community can use stronger glue. These sites should be havens of pure fun, joy, relaxation, and education in a safe and physically maintained setting. And a strong commission can be an ally in this new endeavor for the increased rehabilitation of these sites. A strong commission can help oversee the discussion of the priorities at each site by facilitating the needs discussion with the district council people, the rec personnel, the neighbors, and the facility users, and then communicate those results once determined by the parties above and engage the community in the revitalizing effort as it proceeds. Most importantly, they can make absolutely certain that these precious financial resources are maximized for the highest quality, most impactful renovations and enhancements, and not just paper patching and painting. The needs are great, the funds are limited, and a diverse and strong commission can be the best safeguard to ensure that these precious new tax revenue will be used for the broadest impact in every neighborhood and community around the city. The critical oversight is necessary on behalf of the Parks and Rec system for all its users who are also taxpayers of Philadelphia. We want to make sure that every dollar works for us. My strongest assets to assist the Commission's efforts are community leadership, public relations, neighborhood revitalization, business common sense, fundraising, and fiscal responsibility. My passion and enthusiasm for the Parks and Rec system and my very, very deep respect and appreciation for the leaders of this department are the reasons I continue to volunteer joyfully my time and energy to several friends groups. Most especially FDR Park, which is both blessed and cursed by being next to the sports complex, which is a handful to deal with. I led the last cleanup of about 60 volunteers, and I have the poison ivy to prove it. The Parks and Rec centers throughout the city are the hearts of each community, and these safe havens must survive and thrive to become a healthy alternative and a lifeline to every resident for fun, adventure, and enriching community life. Children, after-school teens, and seniors especially need these safe locations to gather, socialize, learn, and grow. On my previous tour of duty as a commissioner, it was absolutely inspiring to tour these centers and see the lifers who have spent decades and decades at these sites. Without a doubt, the Parks and Rec staffers on all levels are the most dedicated and enthusiastic workers I have met in city government, and that's a fact. They are a joy and an inspiration to work with as a volunteer, and I would love to serve on the commission again to assist them in every effort. I did not get recommendations. I did not want to bother my friends because, frankly, the current board is excellent. I don't see how any of them gets replaced. So I didn't bring recommendations. I think they're all terrific and they all serve a purpose. As to what needs I see in the parks, FDR is blessed with tennis and golf and skateboarding and ball fields, which are a lot to manage, of course. With lots of efforts, we just got bikes and soon to have boat concessions. That's in the last 2 weeks, and that has taken years to do. What we need is active programming, which I'm sure most of the parks and rec centers need more programming to draw people in, because the more people there, the safer they become, the more mentors you can identify. It would be great if they had Wi-Fi. I'm trying to get a farmer's market at FDR Park, not only to keep in with the green theory, but to teach people and have small cooking lessons to teach people how to be healthier. Fishing programs at FDR Park, we're working on those, and bird watching, of course. But just let me get this plug in for FDR Park. My biggest wish for FDR Park is that it become at least a mini station for the police horses, because we are next to the sports complex, which could really use that security. But the police horses were originally in FDR Park. There's old stables there with a great fundraising effort. The symbolism and the presence of the police horses at FDR Park would be thrilling. Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Barbara. Thank you for your testimony. And next we'll hear from Ms. Susan Dannenberg.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for the opportunity to testify here today. My name is Susan Dannenberg. I have lived in Philadelphia since 1978. I was eager to live in the city of Philadelphia due to the vibrant, walkable downtown, the diversity of people, the excellent public transit, affordable housing options, and the availability of job opportunities. But what has kept me in Philadelphia for almost 4 decades has been the quality and quantity of Philadelphia's recreational options and natural areas. I'm excited to have the opportunity to apply to serve on the Commission on Parks and Recreation. I feel I bring a valuable and unique set of skills to the Commission. Fairmount Park was originally created to protect our drinking water, and by its very nature is a watershed park. My undergraduate degree in geology prepares me to understand the hydrologic issues that threaten our park system. Through my studies in landscape architecture at Temple University, I developed a deep appreciation of ecology and a strong working knowledge of plants, both native and non-native, which are key to the health of the ecosystem of the park. My master's degree in planning has fostered my ability to evaluate complex systems, analyze options, taking into the account the needs and desires of the various stakeholders. I believe these skills will serve me well in the performance of my duties on the Commission. I am committed to both preserving our cherished Fairmount Park and providing our young Philadelphians with quality recreational opportunities. Studies have shown that our children are not getting enough time out of doors, and that exercise and exposure to nature can both reduce stress and raise academic achievement. Philadelphia is blessed with one of the largest urban parks in the world. Making sure all our citizens, especially our youngest, have access to parks and recreation must be a priority. To that end, I have served and continue to serve on a working group called Nature RX. Working closely with many partners, including Philadelphia Parks and Recreation, Nature RX has created a program whereby pediatricians can write a prescription for children to spend time in parks and trails. Shortly, Nature RX will begin a pilot program in Children's Hospital of Philadelphia's pediatric offices, starting in Cobbs Creek neighborhood of West Philadelphia. Patients will leave the pediatrician's office with a piece of paper tailored to their needs and location, providing information on recreational facilities and natural areas within a half-mile of their home. Since the 1800s, Fairmount Park has drawn visitors to Philadelphia from far and wide, making the park a boon not only to Philadelphia's citizens, but also to its coffers through tourist dollars. Look at any promotional material for Philadelphia, and you're likely to see a picture of some segment of Fairmount Park. The Philadelphia Museum of Art, the vista of Ben Franklin Parkway, the beautiful architecture of Boathouse Row, or more recently, the boardwalk of the Schuylkill River Trail. Fairmount Park is the jewel in the crown of a city with world-class cultural and educational institutions, giving Philadelphia the competitive edge against her peer cities. As residents of Philadelphia, we are all stewards of this park and its recreational facilities for the next generation, with an obligation to keeping it forever green and to providing our children with opportunities for quality recreation and access to nature. If selected, I look forward to personally furthering that stewardship by serving on the Commission on Parks and Recreation. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. And next we'll hear from Ms. Beth Ann Devine.
You got it right.
Yay.
My name is Beth Devine, and I appreciate the opportunity to speak today. In 2009, I started a nonprofit organization called Philly Girls in Motion, and we deliver programming through rec centers in the city. I've seen firsthand the impact of getting kids engaged in physical activity and sports, and the use of the rec centers to do this work. Since then, our organization has grown to work with over 1,000 girls a year in various settings, including rec centers, schools, and community centers like the EOM in South Philadelphia. This month, I was named to be the executive director of the Philadelphia Youth Sports Collaborative, which has over 40 members in the city who deliver sports-based youth programming. The issue of programming has come up multiple times today, so I'll just address kind of where we're headed with that. Partnerships are obviously key to delivering and engaging kids through the rec centers, because what we know is the rec centers staffing doesn't always allow them to run their own programming. So our organization, PYSC, has 40-plus members who deliver programming in these various settings, and I think building partnerships is really a way to engage more children throughout the city. So assuming this role, the goal of the PYSC moving forward is to build partnerships not only with the rec department, but also with schools, with our universities and colleges to engage their students to deliver programming in these different settings, as well as the administration and organizations such as PAL and Boys and Girls Clubs, so that we can build partnerships that support the rec centers, almost like the community school idea, where you go into a community and see what the community needs and then help engage nonprofit partners to deliver that stuff. And that's our goal as an organization moving forward, is to build more partnerships so we can deliver more programming to the youth. Last summer and through the end of the year, I was asked by the Kenny administration to research partnerships of this type, both in schools and rec centers, and was surprised to find that the rec centers and the schools didn't have strong partnerships at this point, and that's something that I feel that no matter my position on the commission or not, is something that we can all work towards. And there's a lot of opportunity, especially with the commitment to boost our rec centers and get them involved almost in clusters with their school and local nonprofits. I served as the co-chair of the Transition Team Committee on Community, Culture, and Recreation, and took a deep dive into both budgeting, programming, and just general information out there from all the stakeholders in all these different areas. And, I feel I learned a lot in that experience. In addition, my resume includes years of experience in the following areas that I think might be helpful. Obviously, youth programming, program design, and program site relationships. Particularly, I worked in West Philly at the Sayre Mars Rec Center. I've worked in West Oak Lane at the Simon Center and extensively at the Guerin Rec Center in South Philadelphia. I worked for a firm that did brownfield redevelopment and was involved in the process from basically soup to nuts. I helped manage all the different teams, including the land planners, sales and marketing, and just the basic process from taking a land that nobody wants and making it land that is viable again. So I feel that working knowledge in that area would be helpful, especially with the bond and all of the improvements that are planned for all the different locations. I've been a director of marketing using multiple channels, and I know that was something that was of interest in the application. And then also fundraising. I'm a fundraiser, not always by choice, but by what I do. It's essential. So I've done that through grant writing, event fundraising, individual asks, and donor and larger gifts. I believe that I also grew up in an HVAC family. Since 1918, Divine Brothers has served Philadelphia, and we've also it's a commercial HVAC firm and has done extensive work with the city and SEPTA, and even though I didn't officially join the firm till I was born in 1970, I've been working there off and on all my life. So I have a working knowledge of the building issues that come up, and thought that might be helpful. So I believe that this unique combination of experience makes me a good candidate for a seat on the commission. I've dedicated a majority of my life serving children as well as adults using the Parks and Recreation system. I've run through Fairmount Park with members of Back on My Feet and done endless smiles on my own. I've taught basketball, lacrosse, volleyball, and more in the rec centers. I've delivered fitness classes in rec centers and schools, and I've seen firsthand the importance of the recreation system to our youth and to our adult community as well. And I would be honored to serve the city in this capacity. I appreciate your consideration.
Thank you very much for your testimony. I have to say, while everyone is still here, this is going to be really hard to decide. Everyone who has presented so far is just outstanding in the work that they've done in the community and what they bring to the table. So I just want to say to everybody, this is going to be really, really hard to find 9 names out of all of the great quality crop of candidates that we have. But one thing does come to my mind, which is that I remember when we did this 4 years ago, and I remember thinking the same thing. We have so much talent and so many people who want to be involved. So I'm hopeful that, we can only, have 9 names, but I'm hopeful that there will be a way to engage everyone, whether they make it on this commission or not. There's got to be a way to keep everyone engaged because you all are doing so much as it is right now. But thank you for your testimony and for being here today. And I'm going to ask the next 3 panelists to come forward. That will be Akeem Dixon, Wanda Gloria Fortnott, and Derek Ford. And afterwards, we'll have Michael Froelich, Jeff Hackett, and Brandon Johnson. If they could come have a seat in the back row, so to speak. Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, Mr. Dixon, if you'd like to start with your testimony, state your name for the record.
Sure. My name is Akeem Dixon. Good morning. My name is Akeem. I work at the Enterprise Center. I serve as the 52nd Street Commercial Corridor Manager that is funded by Philadelphia List and the Department of Commerce. I'm also a night fundee, a workshop school board member, a North Central Empowerment Zone board member, and a Rotten to Go ambassador. So as you can see, I have a habit of trying to find ways to get involved, to be a bridge to the community so that I can relay the resources that are available to them so that they can become more empowered, engaged and motivated in changing their communities. So along the 52nd Street corridor, there is Malcolm X Park. It's one of the largest parks in the city, but it's also been one of the parks that has not had the type of community engagement that the community residents would like to see. So for that reason, I've gotten involved with the Friends of Malcolm X Park and the Fairmount Park Conservancy to work with them to help see the park be changed and renovated. I've also worked with 2 business owners and 2 developers that have new properties around the corridor. So for that reason, we've seen 2 storefront improvements, 1 in-store, and the relocation of the Philadelphia Student Union to the corridor, which will help turn the corridor around moving forward. And we've also seen 2 apartment units be reconstructed around the park that has brought in 8 new units to the corridor and approximately 40 residents. I've also worked with various departments along the city government, including the Department of Commerce, Parks and Recreations in the past, and the Fairmount Park Conservancy. And to that end, in real time, I have experience working with the Mariposa Chop and Cedar Park to help bring resources to along the corridor. So we're not just talking about problems, but we're also trying to build those bridges that offer the resources that are needed to move the park along.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for your testimony. And next we'll hear from Ms. Fortnott.
Close. I am Wanda G. Fontenot, a lady born and raised in Philadelphia. Currently, I am serving as a block captain in the southwest section of the city. I do my best to make my neighbors aware of the benefits of a clean block. Some years ago, I assisted another block captain in dressing up a vacant lot. Together with her mother and a few children, the Garden Oasis won a 3rd prize from the Philadelphia Horticultural Society. That block captain has moved on, and her mother is deceased. I still keep the garden in order and am now working to dress up another lot nearby. It is my desire to make residents become neighbors again who care for their environment. I would like our citizens to realize the need for our city's parks and green areas.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your testimony. And Mr. Ford.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning to the members of council and everyone in attendance here. My name is Derek Ford. I am a longtime resident of Philadelphia, born and raised in Story Mansion. I've been considered the mayor of Story Mansion for whatever reason because of my passion for parks and recs. Many, many years ago as a kid, I worked in recreation, starting out as a lifeguard. And I was fortunate to live 50 yards away, I think, from Fairmount Park itself at 33rd and Diamond Street, which allowed me to spend most of my life and time in Fairmount Park in recreation. Over the years, working as the president of Friends of Mander Advisory Council, also a member of East Park Coalition in developing and implementing programs for kids in the city of Philadelphia. As we sit here this very moment today, as the summer fastly approaches, kids need a wonderful place to go. Mm-hmm. And as we talk about funding and programming in the city of Philadelphia, I think it's equally important that we do more in terms of providing those avenues for kids. Recently, I created a baseball league in Story Mansion, probably reanalyzing baseball back in Story Mansion. We have 395 kids playing a wonderful game of baseball. In addition to that, we're playing football. Every year we do an annual game with the FBI called Step Up to the Plate and Strike Out Violence. And it's really about killing the stigma how inner city kids view law enforcement. Parks and Recs means a lot to me. I have a passion for what I do. And again, I'll reiterate, born and raised in Story Mansion, not even living near at this current moment, but I'm near every day because leadership needs to be there. Working along with our playground director at Mander, Alex, and everybody in that corridor there, we strongly believe that as we move along, time is critical to helping the youth, and not only the youth, but the seniors in our community. So I'm just glad to be a part of this core group of people applying to be on the commission. I'm working along for the greater good, for the greater number of people. So I appreciate the opportunity.
Well, we appreciate your service, all of your service to the community and for the work you do. So thank you very much for being here, for your testimony today, and we'll take it under advisement. Thank you so much. And next we're going to hear from Michael Froelich, Deborah Wolf Goldstein, and Jeff Hackett. And Brandon Johnson. Are you Brandon? Okay. You know what, Deborah, come on up. We're going to have you in the next panel. Come on up. Come forward. Yeah. We'll have you in the next panel, Deborah. Okay, and the panel after that, why don't we just call them forward as well so they can get started. We'll include Janet Lewis and Wanda Lowe. Janet Lewis and Wanda Lowe, okay. All right, so why don't we begin with Michael, if you want to state your name for the record and begin your testimony.
Sure. Good morning. So my name is Michael Froelich. Let me first start by saying this is a heck of a way to start on Monday morning. I wish every Monday could start with listening to wonderful Philadelphians talking about how passionate they are about their city and their neighborhood. This
Absolutely.
is not how my Monday usually starts. So I am a managing attorney at Community Legal Services office in North Philadelphia, where sort of by day I work to represent low-income Philadelphians who are struggling with mortgage foreclosures and predatory consumer scams. However, today I'm here in my sort of personal capacity in support of my application and my desire to serve on the Commission on Parks and Recreation. My application and resume has more of my information about my community activities. I live in the Cedar Park neighborhood of West Philadelphia in the 3rd Councilmanic District. As I will note, 5 of the first 6 applicants live in West Philadelphia, which give me a certain amount of West Philadelphia pride. I've served on the board of Cedar Park Neighbors, which is our registered community organization, including 3 years as its president. I've co-founded the West Philly Tool Library, which is a lending library for tools that loans out about 10,000 tools every year to neighbors to help them fix up their homes and maintain their community gardens, clean the streets, build things, and a variety of other things. And I also have served on the board of directors for Shakespeare and Clark Park and University City Green. But what really drives my passion for parks and what brought me here is that a few years ago, when my now 7-year-old daughter Zora was 4, we embarked on this project to visit every playground in Philadelphia. And so far we've visited 162 playgrounds.
Wow.
With plans to visit all of them. We sort of track our progress and give reviews of all the playgrounds on our website, which is zoraplays.com. And we draw maps of the playgrounds, and she takes pictures of what she likes about the playgrounds. So this project has taken us from Junid Playground in the far northeast to Jenks Playground in Chestnut Hill. We've gone down to Marconi Plaza near the stadiums at FDR Park, and Pascal Playground in Southwest Philly, and everything in between. And through the project, we've learned sort of like what we like about playgrounds, and but also have seen the great differences in the playgrounds. Unfortunately, there is great inequities, and some are absolutely beautiful and stunning, and others need serious care and upkeep and cleaning. And so the reason why I believe that I would like to be considered for the commission is I think my skills and experience as a CLS lawyer would be a good match for the commission. But more important than that, though, is I'm passionate about parks and green spaces and recreation and games and playgrounds and everything that the department stands for. As a legal aid lawyer, I work hard every day to make sure that everyone has equal opportunity, who has material benefits like housing and food and income. And these things are important, they're critical, but I would like to serve on the commission because I believe we need equitable support for all of our parks and all Philadelphia neighborhoods, and I believe that a quality life means more than just access to these material resources. It's also about relaxing in a quality neighborhood park, and it's about ensuring that everyone can enjoy our park system. Thank you.
Very good. Well, thank you for your testimony. I'm glad to hear that you've made an effort to not just go to your neighborhood recreation center, but to get around and see some of the other things that are happening in other neighborhoods and things that are not happening in other neighborhoods as well. So thank you for your testimony. Jeff Hackett?
Yeah. Good morning, Council.
Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. My name is Jeff Hackett. I'm current president of Sturgis Playground Advisory Council. I sit on the 35th District Police Advisory Council. I'm on the Melrose Park Garden Civic Association and a current member of New Parks and Recreation Commission. I made a submittal, but I would like to really come from the heart, because I believe what comes from the heart really touches the heart. And with 3 minutes, I just want to give a few brief stories of stuff that we know that happens. And Councilman Jones had made a statement, asked a question about what would be an improvement. And one of the things that I've known from my experience of over 25 years working with youth is that we need longer hours. I believe that the rec centers should be like the community. They should be 7 days a week, and they should meet the curfew hours, because it only takes 5 minutes for trouble to find somebody that is at idle time. And what I would like to say is that with what's going on, one of the relationships with and partnerships with staff is that there's a conflict sometimes that just needs to be addressed and ironed out. A lot of times what is best for the community, like my community itself is up in the 9th, even though most of my stakeholdership is in your district, Councilwoman, in the 8th, so I have a double passion for what's going on. But I took a risk and went against the odds. We have every program up there with zero tolerance. All of the children are mindful of their language. There is racial harmony, cultural harmony, gender harmony, age harmony, and it works. And if you are free to come up to Sturgis Playground, you will see that it does work when you have great partnerships. We took our basketball league and took a great risk and raised the age to 22. I had a whole team that we took off of 4th Street in Philadelphia's Olney section that were drug dealers. There was no profanity. There were no guns. 3 of them, and this is the greatest moment I ever had in my 25 years, 3 of them are in community college.
All right.
So what I would like to do is continue to what we are doing and show Philadelphia through modelship that the community needs to take hold of their community. We should work with the staff members, but we should have a greater passion as stakeholders in that community to volunteer our time. I have more volunteer hours than I have actual work hours. And I'm proud of that, and I'm just lucky to have a type of family that backs me in what we're doing. And what we've done now, and it's real strange how Brett Brown, the coach of the Sixers, was up at our playground. I asked him to do a workshop. He gave me 3 days, and Brett Brown brought Okafor up to the playground, and he stayed for a partnership with our playground. And that was like just amazing, just out of general conversation, the people of the city that are willing to help if we just ask them to get involved. You know, so with that, I would just like to have the opportunity to continue to work with the new administration, with the things that are going on, and our ideas that would involve a better partnership. Where we have a lot of my bad boys, so-called bad boys, I found a solution. All I do is make them coaches of younger teams, and they pick up a responsibility. So instead of creating chaos, they're actually becoming junior leaders. And it's a model that could be followed throughout the city. It doesn't matter what your income is. It doesn't matter what your background is. It doesn't matter at all. But most children just want to be recognized. And if you hang around a monkey long enough, you'll acquire a taste for bananas. And we just give them better monkeys to hang with.
What?
And it works. you know, well, with kids, you gotta get a little funny sometimes, right, so they can remember, and they don't really understand the metaphor, but they can relate.
Right.
So I'm just pro children.
Yes. Well, thank you for your testimony. I do know all the work that you do, and with the 35th District, PDAC, and I don't know how you have time for all the things that you do. You seem like you have more than 24 hours in your day, but but thank you, Jeff.
Thank you.
And Ms. Brannon Johnson?
Yes. Hello, my name is Brandon Johnson, and my testimony is going to be a little different because there's like such a huge, diverse group of people, and everyone is super accomplished. I was the program director for Center in the Park for 8 years, and I was managing director, so worked with budget, worked with community leaders like yourself, councilwomen, your jazz concert in the park, Vernon Park, amazing,
yes.
Great job. And longer than that, I've been an elite rower for 20 years. So I experienced the programming in the park, and my story is actually one of the reasons why I'm passionate about providing access to rowing, because it really changed my life. I'm from the inner city. I learned how to row in a Parks and Rec program. And then I actually succeeded, went to college on a full scholarship, got to travel around the country, got to travel internationally, raced in the Royal Henley. I retired, and in 2008, I started a community rowing program. And providing access to that opportunity is super important. And the landscape of the park is really where I got a chance to turn my life around. And I'm so passionate about everyone getting that opportunity. And volunteering on the commission would be so ideal for me, not only just from my vast experience with Center in the Park, but also with just my testimony is my story. I understand what it is to live in the inner city. I understand what it is to walk up and down the river and say, hey, can I do that? And there are so many children that come up to me just because, if I can be frank, I look like them and say, hey, can I do that? And I absolutely am in a access point. And I really think it's important that we understand that whenever we are out in the park and whenever we're walking around, and the park is really a resource. And it's a really valuable one. And I think that this administration has done a really great job of doing what we can with what we have. And I really want to be a part of that. So I think that you're all doing a great job. I think that, working in nonprofit has really made me have to stick to a budget. I've really had to understand all of the nuances and multifaceted system. But at the same time, I'm passionate because I understand whenever you get the opportunity to turn your life around and you have a vehicle to a better life. I was the first person in my family to go to college because I was walking through the park and I happened to see something and I happened to get involved. So, thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful. Excellent testimonies. I'll take everybody who's testified so far. But thank you so much for all of your testimonies. I mean, I really am quite filled up from all of the things that we've heard today and everything that's being brought to the table. So again, many, many thanks for taking time out and sharing your stories and experiences with us. And, wish you the best of luck. Absolutely. Thank you for being here. And so next we're going to hear from Deborah Wolf-Goldstein and Janet Lewis and Wanda Lowe. Hold on one second, Deborah. Thank you. Okay. Deborah, do you want to state your name for the record and begin your testimony?
Good morning. I'm Deborah Wolf-Goldstein. Madam Chairwoman and Councilman O, it's an honor to be before you today and to be part of this amazing outpouring of enthusiasm and passion and great ideas that everyone who's testifying today has about our city's park and recreation facilities. For the last 25 years, I've dedicated both my professional life and countless hours of volunteer time to help improve our city's and region's parks and recreation facilities. I truly believe that our park and recreation system can be polished to be one of the best systems in the country. I currently am a member of the Commission on Parks and Recreation, and I serve as chair of its Land Use Planning and Design Committee. In that capacity, I spearheaded and helped to draft the Open Lands Protection Ordinance that you and City Council signed into law a few years ago. Relying on that ordinance, the Commission successfully guided development proposals in the park for the last 5 years, including creating the West Park Discovery Center, Temple University's decision to relocate into the historic Canoe House on Kelly Drive, and creating a much-needed parking lot for the Philadelphia Zoo. The ordinance also created the opportunity for public input into the proposal to build a large velodrome in FDR Park, which project ultimately was unsuccessful. For all of these proposals, I was the liaison between the developer applicant and the Commission, and I led the public hearings on these proposals. And as head of the Land Use Committee, I also represented the Commission in providing feedback to you on City Council on park-related issues during your zoning code reform efforts. I'm a member of the former Fairmont Park Commission and was its vice president for 5 years. During my tenure on that commission, I was the commission member who facilitated and negotiated the lease for Memorial Hall to be renovated and to welcome in the Please Touch Museum. And for me, nothing was more representative of the great possibilities of the park in the city than when I stood in the remodeled Memorial Hall when Please Touch Museum opened its doors. In addition, my professional career is dedicated to parks, recreation, and open space. I serve on the board of the Fairmont Park Conservancy and was previously on the Fairmont Park Historic Preservation Trust Board and the Friends of the Wissahickon. I run a legal firm that specializes in trail development and preserving open space for recreational use. I served as general counsel to a regional land trust, preserved hundreds of acres of open space, farms, historic buildings, and before that I was the regional advisor for the State Department of Conservation and Natural Resources. I've taught at Temple in planning law and written many articles on open space preservation and recreational liability. I would love the opportunity to continue working to make our vitally important city's park and recreation system the best in the country. Thank you very much for your time and consideration.
Thank you very much for your time and for your many years of service. And next we'll hear from Janet Lewis.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for allowing me to speak to you today. As the alphabet may have it, I've had the pleasure to hear so many other wonderful applicants, and that can either be good or rather intimidating at this point. I am not
just imagine how we feel.
I am not like a lot of the other candidates you've heard from at this point seeking a position on the commission, but I do have personal experiences that bring a unique perspective. I am a Philadelphian. I was born in Frankfurt and graduated from Neshaminy High School. I ran track at Duke University, and I competed numerous times at the Penn Relays, and one of these days when I'm healthy again will compete as a master's athlete. I've also earned my master's in sports administration and my MBA. I have worked for various companies up and down the East Coast and currently work in a law firm on Washington Square as both the Director of Sport and Athlete Relations and the Director of Human Resources. I live with my 2-year-old son, Mason, in the Washington Square West section of the city, maybe one of the few who aren't in West Philly from today. When I came back home and became a homeowner and mother of a small child in the city, I realized how much Philadelphia has to offer everyone, but especially a running mom with an obsession for outdoor life and my dear son, Mason, who I can assure the council not long from now will be outrunning me. Maybe is already outrunning me. I have submitted a CV with these remarks so the council can see my background more specifically. My business background gives me a well-educated perspective on balanced budgets, marketing strategies, and how to manage long-term goals. I've created and executed multiple major events and partnerships while at Starwood Hotels. I have advised on multi-million-dollar sponsorships, but have also secured small, incremental deals that still make a difference, such as ongoing discount for bagels, of all things, for races in an effort to keep costs and therefore registration fees as low as possible. I've been responsible for securing locations, contract negotiations, securing athlete appearances, travel approvals, and every other detail that comes with a marketing program or promotion and advertising campaign to build brand affinity and awareness. But it's not just my professional background alone that will help me make a significant contribution to the Park and Recreation Department. I know from reading the media and following the issues that a major goal of Philadelphia, both when the city was led by Mayor Nutter and now by Mayor Kenney, is to make this city the greenest in America. That is, greener than Minneapolis, greener than Portland, Oregon, more parks for people, more trees, more access to green spaces. That goal is what the Parks and Recreation Department is all about, and I would be delighted to help the department achieve that goal. For a taxpayer and homeowner who runs for exercise and peace of mind through the city streets, along the rivers, and through Philadelphia's parks, the city's goal is my goal. I wholly support and know by reading the work of public and private organizations, including the Trust for Public Land, it will become a reality. Let me offer you my own perspective as a true road runner. There are few cities in which I have lived where I've had the opportunity for so many different experiences as a runner. As a 10-time finisher of the Broad Street Run, I've watched as the interest in running in this city has exploded. I clearly remember cheering at the start of one of the Broad Streets where they announced that there were 10,000 registrants for the race, and we thought that was outstanding. Now the city has made it the largest 10-miler in the country. In addition, my friends and I are even more excited that the city will be taking over the marathon and the related races that weekend in November. I love that I can go a few blocks and run the paths along the Delaware River, or go a bit in the other direction and push myself on some of the hills in Fairmount Park. Along the rivers or in the park, I am grateful for the efforts of the city to provide a greener and therefore cleaner environment for me to enjoy these activities. I served as the Winter Series Director for the Bucks County Roadrunners. That was 12 races in 12 weeks in the dead of winter. In addition to more than tripling our average participation, I was tasked with working with Tyler State Parks management to ensure that we were meeting not only the goals of the runners, but also of the park. How do we minimize traffic, both pedestrian and vehicular, leave the space better than we started, and leave a legacy for future park users? All issues that are relevant both to the BCRR and to Philadelphia and this commission. I am a mom of a 2.5-year-old. I have a stake in the parks and the playgrounds. Because no matter how important it is that people of all ages can love and enjoy the parks, as we have heard over and over and over today, children are the heart of so many of these initiatives. Greener and cleaner means better lives for our kids and future generations. Our lives are completely intertwined with the parks of the city, whether it's Star Gardens, swings, Spruce Street Harbor Park swan boats, which my son can't reach the pedals yet, so I get to pedal for the whole hour, flying down the slide at Smith Playground, or so many other places throughout the city. My daily life and routine revolve around these parks, basketball courts, soccer fields, activities, and events. The Spray Park at Reed Street provides so many a way to cool off in the summer. We enjoy picnics in Washington Square Park. We run together around the Art Museum Loop, and my son laughs with pure joy going around and around on the merry-go-round in Franklin Square. My son is active, and we enjoy these spaces together. I want my son to thrive, and I believe play at parks and playgrounds is a way to help in that goal. We live across the street from a playground. It was a major factor in our decision to move and live in the city, the access to these spaces. My son and all of the other children in this city benefit from the work of this commission. Mayor Nutter and Mayor Kenney have made great strides to ensure that Philadelphia continues to grow and expand their parks and reach the goals of becoming the greenest city in the country. My father, Craig Lewis, was a state senator for 20 years. I grew up a politician's daughter, a politician who truly wanted to serve the people. He continued to do so in the Philadelphia community after his retirement, serving as the chairman of the Philadelphia Foundation and on the board of the Philadelphia Zoo. I understand politics, but also understand the difference someone can make because of him. My father gave a lot in public service. He made a difference. He left a legacy, and it is a dream to follow in his footsteps. It is my turn to give back and make a difference for my son and for others. And I believe this commission is my way to do that. Thank you. And I apologize for the emotion.
That's okay. Thank you so much for your testimony, and it's okay to be passionate and emotional about something that you care about. And so, we give you an extra check mark. No, just kidding. But we appreciate, your passion and your commitment. And it's clear and it's visible. So,
Thank you.
As the mother of a 6-year-old who goes to the park on a regular basis, I appreciate all that you have to offer, and the way you see that our parks aren't just for our enjoyment, but really for the next generation. So, thank you so much, Ms. Lowe.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity, and I guess you saved the best for last. My name is Wanda Lowe, and I'm a resident of the Nicetown, Tioga, Logan community. I'm interested in serving on the Philadelphia Parks and Recreation Commission because of my love for this city, the parks, the recreation, and the many sites, and the people that visit these places. I've been involved with nature and history my entire life, and I know my education and my work experience will be an asset to this community. I did not quote it in here because of what I've given to you already, my history and my background. As a member of the commission, I will diligently work for the growth, development, and care of the many parks and recreation facilities in Philadelphia. I'm excited about the many new ventures and programs that you have been putting in place throughout the city. Living in Philadelphia my entire life, I'm aware of the concerns and the desires that the community members have in regard to the neighborhood and parks. I would enjoy and appreciate the privilege of serving on this commission. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your testimony. We look forward to reading all of the information that you all have submitted, the bios and recommendations and so forth. So we'll certainly take it under advisement. And thank you so much, everyone, for being here today. We do have 3 more, I think, who just came in. Laureline Jones, Carla, I'm not even going to try to pronounce Carla's last name, Carla J. That's you, right? Okay. And Jacob Leifer, or Leifer. Okay. And we're going to go ahead and start with Ms. Jones. Good morning. How are you? Please state your name for the record.
Good morning, and good morning to the council people. I'm Laureline Jones. I consider myself as being the CEO of Philadelphia. I tell people I'm Philly born, Philly bred, and when I die, I'll be Philly dead. I am a Philadelphia School District educated person, employed by the Philadelphia School District for 42 years as a teacher, athletic director, and coach. I volunteer I am a volunteer, a retired Philadelphia volunteer, who conducts secular and religious workshops for parents with teens. I instruct CPR, first aid, and AED classes. I cook and feed the homeless. I also founded a nonprofit that provides instructional programs for the underserved female student athletes to help them to navigate the athletic scholarship venue. My experiences with the Department of Recreation began at the age of 7 as a participant in arts and crafts and games at Francisville Playground. I went swimming at Gustine Lake and played at Smith Playground on the Giant Slide. During and after college, I was able to be employed by the department as a counselor, day camp director, lifeguard, and a teacher in the summer programs. Since 1983, I have been a volunteer at Mantua, Simon, Belfield, King, Gustine, and Boathouse Row, conducting a School of Skills, which is a program giving instruction, skills, drills, and nutrition sessions to all basketball players between the ages of 7 and 18. This program is also conducted by many of the young ladies who have graduated from college, who have played overseas, and 5 of them who have left our program and was drafted in the WNBA. My children did, and now my grandchildren take advantage of the recreation centers by participating in taekwondo, basketball, baseball, and soccer. I still use the recreation centers by participating in the various programs for adults, line dancing, aerobics, and informational meetings geared to the community. I feel very strongly that I can be of service to the Commission. My leadership skills, experiences in programming, managing budgets, and implementing new ideas that can become viable and successful programs could be an asset to the Commission. If I am selected, I shall work diligently to ensure that all aspects of the Commission's activities will be done in the most efficient manner. And I thank you for this opportunity.
Well, thank you very much for your testimony and for all of your years of experience, and especially with our young people. And I just wanted to offer up Councilman David O., who does Taekwondo, and to have him come out and maybe participate in a class. Is that okay, Councilman?
Yes, it is.
Okay. I'm going to volunteer his services as well. But thank you so much for your service. And next we will hear from Carla. Is it Kristeniak?
It's Kristeniak, yes. Hi, my name is Carla Kristeniak. I thank you for having me here today.
Thank you for being here.
You have my written testimony before you, but I will go ahead and summarize it briefly in the time I have available. I'm an environmental attorney for the City of Philadelphia, and I wanted to focus my testimony on my 3 areas of my background that I think make me a particularly good fit for the Commission: my environmental experience, my experience with public resources, and my background with finance and administration. Environmental, before even coming into the legal field and knowing that I wanted to focus on environmental law and the great work that the city does to advocate for the resources that it has, I had a lot of hands-on experience. I had served as a horticultural fellow at a local area arboretum, Jenkins Arboretum. I had served in the Peace Corps as an environmental education volunteer. I'd done urban forestry with an organization called Casey Trees that focuses on the urban canopy in the District of Columbia, and had done other works with Parks Group on public education, habitat restoration, and native plants. So that was sort of where I came from as my background and my interest in working in environmental law. As far as public resources, throughout my undergraduate studies, I actually worked for the athletic department at George Washington University and managed those facilities, so fields and recreational activities, both NCAA athletics as well as intramural sports, large events for the public, and other venues and activities other things that come into those venues, activities for the campus community, the local community, and the city itself. So that background is sort of created always an appreciation for all that goes into the logistics, maintenance, and managing of recreational centers. As a follow-up to that, I worked at the National Trust for Historic Preservation and focused on preserving historic buildings, something that certainly is an important factor for the city of Philadelphia and the parks and the wonderful buildings that we have as a part of our systems here. And then all of that was a part of my background in nonprofit finance and administration, which segues into the third experience that I have here. And my work in contracts and grants management exposed me to a lot of things that, as far as working with governmental funding streams and what the proper procedures are for handling different analyses of projects and how they're done the correct way. And I think that is another component that would serve me well as far as working with the Commission. And I would be happy to take any questions that you might have, but I know that your time is limited and you've had a large group today. So thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you very much for your commitment and your experience. And I think that you bring a lot of assets to to looking at all these candidates. I mean, just your work with the City of Philadelphia as an environmental attorney. I think that there's a lot of possibilities there that we should talk about. And last but not least, we have Mr. Jacob Leifer.
Leifer. Yep. Thank you. Thank you, Council. And it's an honor and privilege to be considered to serve on the Commission of Parks and Recreation today. As a Point Breeze resident residing in one of the least park and recreation accessible areas in the city, according to Penn Praxis's Green 2015 plan, I am acutely aware of the need for a thriving parks and recreation system. Through my demonstrated experience in my neighborhood and citywide, I believe I have the skills and experience necessary to ensure a flourishing park and rec system. On the local level, I am the co-chair of the Play Yard Committee of Childs Elementary, our neighborhood school. This work requires significant stormwater, playground, and fundraising requirements. I'm working to ensure that an abundant green and play area can be provided to our students in the heart of South Philadelphia. This effort is performed with a variety of stakeholders, from parents to teachers to government officials, to envision, plan, and execute a thriving green space. Through my ongoing work here to transform a barren playground, I see many of the same skills required on the Commission on Parks and Recreation. In addition to this local advocacy, I've been a consistent champion of parks and recreation system on a citywide and state level. I'm submitting for the record today a letter of recommendation from State Representative Jordan Harris, who I'm working with closely on state legislation that ensures our children have safe access to rec centers and parks. It is an honor to see a strong recommendation, which supports my record of advocating and developing thriving public space in this city. On the citywide level, I've had tremendous success in rallying and supporting residents in improving our neighborhood streetscapes, such as my creation of Open Streets Philadelphia, which received over 4,500 resident signatures, news reports in the Inquirer, NBC, ABC, and Philadelphia Magazine, and has received support from Otis and council members. My work on all levels, local, city, and state, to develop, maintain, and ensure thriving public space for our residents provides the direct experience required to serve on the Commission on Parks and Recreation. I encourage you to review the rest of my application, which provides additional detail, and believe this fully supports the work to and experience required for the role. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you so much. At this point, I'm going to ask if anyone on the panel has any questions, since we've held our questions to the end. Did you have any questions, Councilman or Councilwoman Maria Quinones-Sanchez? Anything that they wanted to add? Is there anyone else here to testify who submitted an application? No? Okay. I want to thank everyone for being here today. Thank you so much for providing your testimony and also providing the written documents that we'll have an opportunity to read and review at a later point and help us to make a very, very difficult decision. Everyone who has presented today has just been excellent, and if I had my way, I'd take everybody. But I don't think it's going to work that way. So we will figure things out and get back to you. There's another hearing tomorrow, and we look forward to hearing from those applicants as well. And afterwards, we will make some decisions. Actually, there's just 2 hearings? I thought there were 2 hearings. There might be 3. So I'm just going to say 2 or 3 hearings that are left. There's 2 more, so there's 3 altogether.
Just 2
There's
together.
1 more. Okay. So just 1 more tomorrow. Okay, great. Okay. And so, and with all that being said, that concludes the hearing today. This hearing will stand in recess until Tuesday, May 24th, 2016 at 1 p.m. And again, thank you all for being here.
Thank you very much.